My name is Elizabeth Beck, author of the Summer Tour Trilogy. This weekend, December 6th and 7th, is the celebration of life for Kentucky author and teacher Gurney Norman at the Gatton Center at the University of Kentucky. This is my tribute to him. In 2014, I signed up to take a creative writing course with Gurney in order to renew my teaching certificate. After the first few assignments, Gurney pulled me aside and asked what I was doing in his class. I was obviously older than most of the students, and for every page he assigned, I turned in 10. At that time in my life, I had 2 collections of poetry published with small presses, but this was a first for me to turn my attention to writing fiction. What became Summer Tour began in that classroom. As the semester unfolded, Gurney encouraged me to continue writing the manuscript, awarding me independent study for the following semester under 2 conditions. 1, I finish the book. 2, I meet him at Hyman Settlement School for our final manuscript consultation. Sitting on the rocking chairs at the porch at Hyman was a highlight of my literary career. After we discussed his notes on my novel, he regaled me with tales of his old Palo Alto days when he listened to an old band called the Warlocks, we now know as the Grateful Dead. By then, I had read his novel, Divine Right's Trip, and had also acquired a copy of the novel found in the Whole Earth catalog, both of which he signed and I treasure to this day. I put the first draft of Summer Tour in the proverbial drawer to return to the classroom and to see my son through his high school career. It wasn't until my son graduated from high school and left for college that I decided I needed a project to combat the empty nest syndrome. I dusted off Summer Tour and got to work, writing in the middle of the night and teaching during the day. January 2020 found me sending query letters to seek publication for the book. It wasn't until the pandemic hit, the world went into quarantine, and all the music concerts and festivals were canceled that I decided to take a deep breath and publish the book myself. June 1st, 2020, I released Summer Tour into the world. It was received beyond my expectations. People called it filling the gap, and orders flooded in, much to my delight. From there, I wrote the next 2 novels of the trilogy, World Gone Mad and Under the Elm. Because of my deep devotion to Gurney, I paid homage in the novel in 2 ways. The protagonist of Summer Tour, 17-year-old Sam, was a voracious reader consumed in Catcher in the Rye at the start of the story until a hippie named Cosmic Charlie gifted Sam a copy of Divine Right's Trip, calling it The Way of the Game. While Sam toured with his girlfriend Claire and their crew in an RV called Subi Greenberg on Fish Tour the summer of 2019, Sam read Gurney's book. I thought it would be cool if Sam could actually meet Gurney, so I wrote a scene about a local poetry series in Maywood, Ohio, the fictitious setting of my book, where Gurney Norman and his pal, Ed McClanahan, were the feature readers. The anecdote Gurney tells in the novel was a story he shared with us in the classroom. Here is that passage. When we walked in, I pulled my journal and the copy of Divine Right's Trip from my backpack and put them on the table. "How is it?" Claire asked, looking at the book. "Weird," I admitted. It starts with the bus narrating the story, which confused me, of course, but as it turns out, the bus doesn't narrate the whole novel. It's about a dude named D.R., which is short for Divine Right, or David Ray, his real name, who has adventures back in the olden days, like the 60s. They even used payphones. I mean, I've seen public phones in New York, but nobody uses them anymore. They do a lot of psychedelics, and they throw this thing called the I Ching that I completely don't understand. Taylor and Chris arrived, interrupting my story. She carried her journal and walked away from our table. Chris sat down to explain Taylor had to find the host to sign up for the open mic. "I got one of the last spots," Taylor said. "Did you order me water?" "No," Chris said. "I'll go up to the bar and get it for you now." Taylor looked nervous, but when she saw the copy of the book, she smiled. "You brought the book to be signed? That's great. How did you know? I wish I had a copy." "To be signed?" I was confused. "Yes," she said. "The feature readers tonight are Gurney Norman and some dude named Ed McClanahan. They're from Kentucky." Chris returned with 2 glasses of water. "Wait," I said. "Ed was mentioned in Growing Up Dead. I'm going to find the passage. I swear I remember reading his name." I dug back into my backpack for that book. "Here it is, page 119. He was a merry prankster, Palo Alto, friends with Ken Kesey." "Hold on," Chris said, picking up the book. "You brought this book but didn't know the author was reading tonight? How weird is that?" "Very," I said. I looked around trying to find Ed and Gurney, but I didn't see any hippies. "I'm going outside to get some air." I stood up abruptly and stumbled to the door. I leaned against the building and took a few deep breaths. Claire followed me. "What is it, Sam?" "This is too big of a coincidence. I mean, if we were in New York, that would be one thing, but we're not. We're in this tiny town at this poetry reading. What are the chances?" "I'm not sure I understand." "Okay, first I run into the Cosmic Charlie dude twice in 2 different cities." "Well, that's not so weird, though. He's following fish. We're following fish. We'll probably see more of the same people as we go on tour, right?" "Right," I said. "But did you get a book?" "He gave me this book. He doesn't know where we're from. He doesn't know the author would be here tonight yet." "Here we are," she finished. "Here we are," I repeated. "Too big of a coincidence." Claire laughed. "Okay, well, if Peter Connors comes walking right in now, that would be too big of a coincidence." "That's for sure," I said. "But listen, Sam, writers are people, just people. And we are at a poetry reading, somewhere you'd expect writers to gather, right? They're going to start the open mic in a minute, and we don't want to miss Taylor. Let's go back in now. Do you feel better?" "No, but you're right. Let's go back in. I don't want to miss Taylor." Finally, the host called Taylor's name to a good round of applause as she made her way to the stage. Although she had seemed nervous the entire time waiting, once she grabbed the microphone, she was as confident as I had ever seen. We applauded her loudly as she returned to our table with a shy, proud smile. Before we could congratulate her more, the host was introducing Ed McClanahan. I was stunned when this old grandpa-looking guy pulled himself up from the table and made his way to the stage. This is a merry prankster? He wore jeans, a vest, and a tie-dye, but nothing else about his appearance would have placed him in the beat culture in my imagination until he opened his mouth to speak. He was hilarious. He told stories about wavy gravy, read a little bit, and then talked about Divine Right's trip, indicating to where Gurney was seated, but all I could see was the back of some white-haired guy's head until it was his turn to take the stage. Gurney sported a sweater, a button-up shirt, and khakis. Not exactly hippie garb. Gurney cracked the crowd up, reading a story about when he was an undergrad and met Robert Frost. Apparently, Robert Frost and a guy named Mr. Crowley misunderstood each other in a conversation. Frost thought they were talking about Henry Miller, yet Crowley thought they were talking about Arthur Miller, the playwright who was married to Marilyn Monroe. What's even funnier is that Robert Frost didn't even know who Marilyn Monroe was. I sat there imagining how amazing it would have been to have met the great Robert Frost. "Let's go meet him and get your book signed," Claire said once the reading ended. "I'm not sure," I wavered. "We have to," Claire said. "He'll be thrilled you have his book. Come on," she said. We had to wait a while as a crowd had formed around the men. Everyone was eager to shake hands and ask for their books to be signed. When it was our turn, Gurney asked for my name. Sam, I said, it's so nice to meet you, Mr. Norman. So I need to ask, do you know Cosmic Charlie? Cosmic Charlie, he repeated, frowning to remember. I don't think so, Ed. Do you know a Cosmic Charlie? No, can't say I do, Ed replied. Sounds familiar, but at this age it's hard to remember everyone you meet, you know? He's this guy I met in St. Louis, I explained. He's the one who gave me this book. Would you please sign it to him? So, not Sam, Gurney said. No, please, write it to Cosmic Charlie. Okay, here you are, Gurney said. Thanks for coming out tonight. It is an honor to have shared Gurney's work with my readers. I had the pleasure of featuring Gurney a few years ago at my monthly poetry series that happened to fall on my 50th birthday. Sitting with him and dear Nyoka, eating birthday cake and listening to Gurney's reading was such a delight. The last time Gurney and I spent time together was drinking iced tea on my pond, talking all things writing, music, and life. I will be forever grateful for Gurney's guidance, mentorship, and teaching. He and Ed make an appearance in Under the Elm, the final book of the Summer Tour Trilogy that flashes back to 1979 and operates as a prequel. I crafted the scene to mirror the ending of Divine Right's trip as a tribute to a teacher I'll always value. Rest in power, dear Gurney. Love to you, Nyoka.